Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in a sea of hard things? You know what I'm talking about. All the complicated skills and just life stuff that everyone seems to think you should have mastered yesterday. It can feel so overwhelming. Like you're just supposed to magically understand taxes?
And investing.
And of course, you should probably learn to code.
And hey, while you're at it, why not just be more charismatic? As if that's a switch you can just flip on. The list feels absolutely endless.
Okay, but hang on. What if we're looking at all of this completely wrong? What if the secret to conquering these hard things isn't about more grinding and more stress, but about finding a way simpler path? What if, believe it or not, it's all easy actually?
So, today, we're going to break down the core philosophy from the fantastic Easy Actually YouTube channel. We'll kick things off with the main idea, then unpack 3 super powerful principles to get you moving. And finally, we'll tie it all together with the one secret that makes the whole thing click.
So let's get into the main premise. You know those intimidating problems that look like giant monsters? Well, turns out, they're usually not. They're really just a big, tangled mess with one simple thread you can pull to start unraveling the whole thing. The trick is, we usually miss that thread because we're too busy being scared of the monster.
For instance, if you want to get smarter, the advice isn't some complicated biohack. It's just this: read. It sounds almost too simple, right? But before you can find any shortcuts, you've got to understand the map. And the easiest way to get the map is to just, well, read it.
Okay, so that leads us perfectly into our first core principle of the Easy Actually method. And this one is all about getting out of your own head.
The whole goal here is to completely destroy the intimidation factor. You take a huge, terrifying goal and you break it down into first steps that are so tiny, so simple, that it would feel silly not to do them. You're basically lowering the bar so low that starting is the only logical option.
Let's talk about doing your taxes. We built this up in our minds to be this huge, awful thing, but look at the actual steps. You get a piece of paper in the mail, you go to a free website, and then you just answer the questions it asks you. That's it. The whole scary task demystified into 3 basic things.
Or how about learning a language on your own? The hard way feels like it involves expensive classes and maybe a plane ticket, but the easy, actually way, go find a free textbook PDF online. Search YouTube for videos with the magic word easy in the title, and then just start copying what you hear. It's simple, it's totally doable, and there is zero intimidation. But you know, just starting isn't the whole story. You've got to make sure that the effort you're putting in is actually, well, counting. And that brings us to our second big principle, finding the leverage.
Leverage is the classic work smarter, not harder. It's the 80-20 rule in action, right? It's all about finding those cheat codes, the specific activities that give you the biggest bang for your buck, the most progress for the least amount of work. And then you just ignore everything else.
I mean, this slide says it all. You could waste hours, literally hours, agonizing over the perfect font for your resume. That is super low leverage. Or you could spend that exact same time learning a skill that companies are actually looking for and build something real to prove you have it. That's high leverage. One is just busy work. The other creates actual value.
Now, when you get into business, this idea of leverage gets even more powerful. Think of it like a pyramid. So at the bottom, you can leverage other people's labor. Up from that, you can use capital, using your money to make more money. But at the very top, the most insane forms of leverage are code and media. They let you scale what you do to an almost infinite degree with very little extra effort. But here's the other side of leverage, and this is super important. You have to know when you're losing it. Take fitness, for example. The first 10 sets or so you do for a muscle group give you a huge benefit. But look at this chart. If you double your work to 20 sets, you only get a tiny, tiny bit more muscle growth. That's called diminishing returns. The smart, high-leverage move is to do just enough to get most of the gains and then stop.
And this brings us to our final, and maybe the most important principle of all. This is the one that closes that huge, frustrating gap between knowing what you should do and, actually doing it. Making a study schedule is not studying. Oof, that one hits hard, doesn't it? We all fall into this trap of analysis paralysis, where we spend all our time getting ready to do the work instead of just doing the work. Making the perfect plan feels productive, but it's not the same as actually producing something. Coding is the perfect example of this. You can get stuck in what they call tutorial hell, just passively watching hundreds of hours of videos, but never really learning how to build anything yourself. The real learning, the real magic, only happens when you escape that and get into project heaven, where you start actively building something, anything, even if it's small and simple. That's where you actually learn.
Think of it this way. You can't learn how to tie a tie by just watching a video of someone else doing it. You have to actually have the tie in your hands, fumbling through the steps right along with the video. You learn by doing. Just watching gets you nowhere. It's all about active practice.
So, we've got our 3 principles, right? Demystify and start, find the leverage, and action over analysis. But these aren't just one-off tricks. When you put them all together, they stop being tactics and they become something much more powerful. A complete mindset. And this is pretty much what that mindset looks like. It's a simple little loop that you can run on any hard problem in your life. First, you break it down into baby steps so you can actually start. Then, you find and focus only on the high leverage moves that get you real results. And finally, you always prioritize doing the thing over just planning to do the thing. Then, you just do it again. This whole framework really changes what hard even means. It's not a measure of how difficult something is, it's just a sign that you haven't simplified it yet. So the real question isn't if you can handle the hard things in your life, it's which one are you going to choose to make easy first.